Hey guys, what is going on, RedMaster, and welcome back to episode of Cards and Castles TV commentary. We've got some good matches for you today. As you can probably already tell by the thumbnail, there's an interesting one, but we'll get to that when we do. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into our first matchup and see what goes down. Alright folks, here we go with match number one. Going to be Vesaven taking on Vasea Mel. Of course, Vesaven rocking the Warlock Druid, which we've seen him play on Casting Conflicts a couple of times now. Up against Vasea Mel, who I assume is running Dragons based on the Dragon Temple in hand, but we'll see how this goes. Going to start things off here with the Fear and the Lumberjack. So, alright, fair stuff there. Not too bad. Following up with the Masuta, which will be a nice way for him to potentially squeak out a dragon like Shadow Drake if he draws it next turn, something along those lines. We'll see Vesa go into the Wizard, which is kind of, you know, fair, especially with things like Drain Life and Flame Shield and all these other buffs in the deck. That can get scary, but of course, Vasea opting to play the Shadow Drake in a position that does threaten the Wizard. Vasea retreats it back, making that safe move. Follows up with the Scout to block the incoming damage. Gonna go ahead, trade the Lumberjack, it looks like, which, alright, fair enough. We could have maybe saved the hassle, but I guess we want to protect the Shadow Drake a bit here. Going for a Secret Dragon as well, looks like. Gonna throw that away from the Wizard to avoid triggering it, maybe thinking, or at least giving Vasea the idea that that could potentially be an Ayajitsu. Vasea, though, completely ignoring the Drake, going for Drain Life, making that Wizard stronger, and that is the good play here, of course, making the Wizard stronger and forcing the Drake to retreat. Of course, even if Vasea did trigger the trap on that last turn, I think maybe with the Drain Life, he still would have been able to take it out. So, but of course, Vasea positioned it in a way that he can't hit it anyway. But of course, like I said, better to engage the Drain Life than to engage the Drake. If that kind of makes sense there. We'll see Vasea opt into a Green Drake now. Okay, that's fair, considering that he's got the Shadow already on board. It does give Green Drake that nice buff. Vasea, meanwhile, going for the Call to Aid, so he will be ready for whenever that Ranger hits. Or no, whenever the Green Drake comes down, I'm thinking the other way around. Anyway, Stone Drake from Vasea Mel, okay, so he's kind of buffing up his forces in anticipation for the range there. And we see Sheep to the Slaughter in hand, so that could potentially be a way that Vasea is going to out something here. And it looks like he's going to go for the Sheep Dragon Temple play. Stone Drake able to reach the Wizard, so there goes the Wizard. And I think we might see a Shadow Drake, Green Drake trade for this Ranger here, which is pretty good for Vasea Mel. I mean, both guys have VES as their first initials here. So anyway, Secret Dragon though triggered by the Lumberjack, so that means Ranger does come out, smack the Shadow Drake that was a little bit, you know, or at least the Green Drake that was transformed and all that good stuff. So that does leave Vasea with the opening here. He goes for a Cloak of Ice on Stone Drake, but retreats it. Okay, that seems fair. Doesn't really want to waste a Stone Drake to get rid of that 7-1, so it makes sense why he didn't. Vesaven, though, going to intercept that Stone Drake with the Lumberjack, getting some draw here. Meanwhile, Centaur eliminating the Dragon Temple, so neutralizing Vasea's buffs. Meanwhile, throwing out the Question Knights as well for extra support in a way that does actually set him up for Cloak of Ice, so a little curious on that one. We're probably going to see Yenaroth, though. Yep, of course, 2 being in Vasea's hand. Makes sense that the Yenaroth makes his appearance at this point in the match, which is fine. Does take out that Ranger, it being a weak link, or at least not really a weak link, but weaker. Follows up with a Mordok and a Wraith into that one. Good pull for Vesaven. Does leave Vasea with a very weakened Yenaroth, but still leaves Vesaven with a Wraith that kind of has to get responded to at some point. Vasea opting to Yenaroth the Centaur and opting to play his second to eliminate said Wraith. Okay, so we'll see if Vesaven has a second counter for a second Yenaroth here. And it looks like the first turn will be the same as the second here. Or at least second same as the first. However that metaphor goes. We do bring out a Mordok, which does generate a Horseman, which does actually finish off the Yenaroth. And of course passing it back to Vasea in the process. He might have to, okay, he's going to go for Dragon Training to draw a card here. Does draw the Yenaroth, not Yenaroth, the Yarum. Not going to be enough here. Opting to go for that Ice Drake Lightning Blade, which is kind of unfortunate since ideally I think he wanted to save that Lightning Blade for a different time, but ends up having to waste it onto that Mordok just to finish off the make sure it doesn't generate anything more. And in the meantime, vesaven going to come in here now with Vampire, Wizard, a Banshee, and it looks pretty slim here. We're going to see a Yarm come out, probably smack that Questing Knight away. Yep, there goes the Questing Knight. Fair enough, and of course the Cloak of Ice still on Stone Drake, so that does get a nice little freeze going. Even though at this point it's not doing a whole lot, Drain Life comes down. We'll see if that gives... Okay, it does go for the Banshee, but I don't think that's going to be a big concern considering the Vampire plus the Wizard is enough to take down the castle down to 1, and with Sudden Death in the next turn, that will be the game in favor of vesaven. Pretty strong opener here as our opening match. Both players extremely strong, extremely intelligent, know what they're doing on the board here. I just think Vasa's deck might have been a bit too much for Vasea to handle that, and we did see a couple of draws that weren't really utilized too well. Dragon Siege, Cloak of Ice, they are strong cards in Dragon decks, but I don't think they were used to the best of their abilities here on Vasea Mel's side, which does leave vesaven with an opportunity to kind of come swinging, as you can see there from his deck. I mean, you're writing down the Rangers, the Vampires, the Morlocks, things that, Vasea Mel couldn't really handle. So, good game to start us off here. vesaven, good job for that win, and we can go ahead and jump into match number 2 now and see what that deck entails. Alright, so in that second match, we of course got Bolas taking on Zechknight, both running Warlock Crusader, so a mirror matchup in terms of colors. Not sure if the deck types are the same, and by that I mean what each player is running. But we'll see. We'll see Zechknight and Bolas pass their first turns, opting Bolas to throw a Earth Knight, maybe signaling that this is going to be some kind of Knight deck potentially. We'll see Zech go for the Bookstraw, not the Tarius File block, but the Bookstraw. It is a way to maybe kind of prevent that Earth Knight from moving forward a little bit. Bolas does bolt that off, doesn't want any draw out of it whatsoever. That does prompt Zech to fear the Earth Knight away and probably set up, the Tarius Files, which we can see there. We don't see Altar in Zechknight's hand, so potentially this might be an undead-based deck from him, but we'll see. We'll see another Tarius Files on the side of Bolas here, of course, as he re-pushes that Earth Knight forward. Zech opting to play the Unholy Altar, which is curious because, of course, the Flamestorm is still in hand. He will have to probably use that at some point, so I guess he's okay with taking that Altar damage. In the meantime, though, T-Rex is going to be the card that comes out for Zech here. Alright, fair enough. T-Rex not really doing much to push back those enemy knights, which he could have clearly done, but... does decide not to do that in this case, leaving Bolas to Plea of Righteous and Armory, which will make these knights a hell of a lot scarier to deal with, of course, being able to make that play due to the Medal of Bravery coin. Zechknight deals with one of those problems, though, does bolt away the Armory, which is a good start, and of course that does leave the Earth Knight very vulnerable, as you can see there, to being removed, and followed up by the Fear to push the White Knight away, so potentially fearing a Luminaris from the White Knight, kind of pushing it back. He's not ready to deal with it yet, I guess, is what he's trying to say with that play, in which, we really consider he doesn't have a clear option to deal with it. So we'll see the Swordsman plus White Knight combination move in here. And Zechknight's in a tough spot. He really can't do a whole lot to damage that White Knight. Of course, it still has the resolve from play. And Swordsman makes a whole other issue of, worrying about cleave, worrying about some unit positions there. We'll see the Furnace Knight come out as a response to the books. Zombie gets smacked away by the White Knight. Doesn't deal the full lifesteal, though. Another plea comes down, reinforcing the White Knight and Swordsman. White Knight already has resolve, so that really doesn't do anything for it, unfortunately. But with that being said, T-Rex coming up to fear them back, which is, of course, a nice play. Does a little bit of Inferno damage on the castle because of that. I think also Zech recognized that the Furnace Knight here could have Inferno the Tarius Files, which gave Bolas more draw for his next turn. So, kind of a little bit of draw blockage, if you ask me. I think that play was probably not, well, maybe not in terms of draw block alone, but of course maybe that little Inferno, you saw that opportunity to just make a little bit of a strike there on Castle, which he'll take. Bolas still going to respond with Knight of Flowers and Priest, which is fine. Looks like the Priest is going to go in for a T-Rex hit, followed up by a second Priest. Alright, so the double Priest combination does take down the T-Rex successfully. Flame Shield onto that White Knight, making it a bit stronger and harder to deal with. Of course, everything else moving back to where they originally were. plus a Knight of Flowers, so very scary there. We do see a not Tarius Files. We do see a Flamestorm from zechknight that does take down his own Tarius Files. Not Bolas, though, because Bolas did reinforce it with 2 Priests, so of course not going to be able to take it down. Meanwhile, zechknight looking to block up here, protecting his own armor, his own altar, excuse me, and just kind of sitting back, seeing what Bolas is going to do, if he's going to charge in, that he can maybe take advantage of that, or what. But we'll see Bolas take the first move here, Blue Firebolt the Wizard, move up the Swordsman, Knight of Flowers, White Knight, and pretty much everything else. I disagree with that Furnace Knight placement, though. That is going to deal damage, and if Zek can eliminate the Swordsman's Resolve, which he's probably going to be able to do, then that's going to be problematic. Lumberjack making the not so correct move there and engaging first. I think Horseman should have engaged in that scenario first, so that way you deal the 3 damage rather than just having a Swordsman cleave away that Horseman and just having it die. I understand that sometimes you want to draw before you start making some moves, but in that case you do have to kind of put a sacrifice on Horseman, just figure out which one is the one to go for. And in my opinion, Swordsman was the one to hit with that Horseman. You would have killed off the Resolve, and thereby the Furnace Knight would have been able to kill it off, which, you know, takes a bit of worry off of zechknight's mind here. But incorrect play there has kind of forced this little Swordsman to survive and prove trouble for zechknight. But we'll see how he handles it. Kratos going ahead and hitting off one of the White Knight's Resolve, not dealing enough damage to generate draw, though, which is going to be problematic. Following up with a Shaman. Shaman probably going to, get rid of the Swordsman Resolve, so that way Inferno does kill it. So he did manage to get rid of the Swordsman, which is hopefully the biggest issue that was on that board. Bolas top decking Stables, though, going to be a big problem moving forward. Doing a lot of damage. 10 from Knight of Flowers, Furnace Knight, an additional 3 from the White. Cleric going to probably go ahead, trade off with the Kraxus, heals Castle. Don't think that was the heal he was looking for, but I guess he'll take it in case anything weird happens. We do see Zek pull a Monk, which I think he has to play for heal purposes. Yep, there is the Monk that will probably trade with the Furnace Knight. Yep, just like that. Imp comes out. Imp kills off the Knight of Flowers. Yep. And then you thought the Sentry Goal. Not much you can do about the White Knight. We just have to hope that, or at least he's hoping Bolas doesn't have a buff, which unfortunately he has Luminaris, which still is the right card to deal with the situation here. And Bolas walks away with the win. Very nicely done from Knights. Haven't really seen a good Knight, or a solid pure Knight push in a while. Certainly fun to see that. Like the little combination synergy there of the Tarius Files and Furnace Knight as well. Very nicely done there. Bolas picking up the win over Zek. And let's go ahead and move into our third match now, though, and see what our last match has in store. Okay, so for our last match here, we've got ObeOkeyDoke. At least I hope that's how you pronounce it. Taking on Rob 10 or 10, Rob 10. Maybe that's just supposed to be a 10 there. A Mono Druid taking on Viking Crusader. Now, you've probably already seen the thumbnail of the video, and you've been wondering where that card is. This is the match. I will preface this by saying you'll see by the match that kind of is a short one, and you'll understand how this exactly works out in a moment. But I will say here, I picked this replay purely because of how funny it was to see this card in the deck. So let's go ahead, jump into it. ObeOkeyDoke taking on Rob 10, Mono Druid versus Viking Crusader. Now you can see the idea behind Rob's deck here with the Winds of the Nord in hand. But of course his hand is looking pretty rough. Swordsman, Arbiter, Genevieve, and top deck's another Genevieve, which he really he can't do anything. So that does allow ObeOkeyDoke here to come in. He'll take a slap with the Question Knight, push in a Salahar Rider. Rob unfortunately draws a Might of the Minotaur, which he will place down, considering it's a card he can play, and you might as well play it if you can't do anything else. But he'll throw it back to ObeOkeyDoke. Question Knight goes down. Salahar Rider moves in, and I think this is the turn. Yes, there it is. Hassan City Guard Tower right in the back. Now, I just gotta pause for a second. I gotta pause. This dude has an interesting idea here to not only run Mono Druid, which is especially interesting considering that Druids themselves don't really have a lot of cards to work with. You're really relying off the neutrals to fill in the voids that Mono Druid creates with its low card count. But it's very interesting to see Hassan City Guard Tower chosen as the choice here. Of course, in that placement, it can do a whole lot here, which you'll see momentarily. You'll see the cleric get healed because of his own ability. But of course, Salahar Rider dealing that last roll damage here, and you'll see that ObeOkeyDoke here able to kind of avoid the Might of the Minotaur trap here, using the guard tower to blast the cleric, using Question Knight to finish off the cleric, and of course passing it back. Well, not before throwing it at the barbarians, being able to rush in here. And Rob doesn't have solid answers. All he can do here is wins. But that allows Obi to continue barraging the tower with the guard tower. And not only that, just continue to throw down barbarians on face here. Yep, then you see the guard tower throwing up that additional 3, and it's going to be over next turn if Rob doesn't have something, which he doesn't. So thereby, Obi gets the win here with the assistance of Hassan City Guard Tower. Now, yes, I know it's a bit unfair to say that Guard Tower really put in the work, considering that Rob didn't really draw anything useful. His only strong draws in the Cleric and Minotaur were kind of counteracted by the Guard Tower, if you think about it, so that was kind of really funny to me to see. And, yeah, I just looked at this match and was like, hey, that's just going to be a fun watch. It's not really a very competitive match, not a very long match, but it just shows you that some people decide to throw in anything into their deck, and it can work out for them. If you have the right idea, if you play the right way, you could fit things like even Hassan City Guard Tower into the deck, which I find absolutely wild and hilarious. But with that being said, guys, I think that's going to be a good place to close off this video. So let's go ahead and move to the outro. And with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy this edition of TV Commentary, let me know what you guys thought of the match by leaving your thoughts down in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, share with friends, of course, subscribe if you are new or haven't done so already. It is the best way that you can show your support here to the channel. And yeah, with that being said, guys, until next time, stay gaming.